Welcome to Front Office Pros. I'm Steve and this is Joe. Today we're going to be talking about buy low players. Just talked about this in our previous video. So Joe, when we're talking about buy low players, do we basically mean that it's the equivalent to a lowball offer that you're sending the owner?
Now, to me, Steve, I know we kind of differ on this, but I don't know if it's necessarily if I would say a lowball offer, but definitely a lower offer, and that's what I would think is a buy low.
I feel like you're changing your tune now that
But
we're
well,
on.
no. In some cases, sure, it could be a lowball offer, but I mean, it's low, but like I would say, you still don't want it to be an insulting offer. I guess that's the kind of the line.
Yeah, I feel like that's a tough line to toe because that owner put in a lot, for that player, and you're giving them obviously it's a sunk cost. I get that, but they're not getting nearly as much as what they, use to get the player.
Well, absolutely, and that's why, with buying low, it's really in hopes that you have more belief than the current owner does in the player, and that they're either frustrated or disappointed or just have zero belief in the player going forward. And that's when you can, really buy low and take advantage.
Yeah, I see. And I think it's okay to, and, this is us having a conversation about this. We thought this would be helpful to talk about. And I think for me, I totally hear you. And I think it's okay. You have to get a pulse and kind of see how does the other owner feel about these players. And if you are able to get the player, for, what would be considered a low ball offer, I mean, hey, you got a player that you think could bounce back, and you didn't have to give up that much. That's a huge win. And for the other team, they got something in return. They're happy about it. I just sometimes get bothered by how the industry coins buy low because I think to me it's synonymous with a low ball offer. I view of it more like a stock price, so the stock price, let's say, was at $50 and now that stock is down to like 35. In my mind, that's a buy low. You are giving up less than what you would have had to give up at the beginning of the year. So I'm buying low on quarterback Trevor Lawrence, running back Najee Harris, tight end Kyle Pitts, right? I'm not spending as much as I would have had to get them, but a lowball offer is, giving them an offer and they're absolutely they've bottomed out, like their value is absolutely crashed and burned. That's the way I view it. Maybe, I mean, I know you disagree with me on it, but I
Mhm.
feel rarely are you going to see someone like the caliber of Pitts, Harris, and Lawrence for you to get a low ball offer and for that owner to say, "Oh yeah, I'll take it."
Well, you've got the lowball offer set at like a rock bottom, and I don't know if a lowball offer is necessarily that rock bottom. I mean, sure, it's lower than your perceived value, but I don't know if I'm not talking like lowball. I don't think is to necessarily say like a player hit rock bottom or the lowest value possible. It's just lower than what you would normally kind of trade for a guy because the value has gone down, I guess.
Sure, but I mean, like in this instance, right? Like if we were to get to an actual example, you would say a low ball off. So for a guy like Pitts, a guy like Najee Harris, a guy like Trevor Lawrence, it just so happens that those three guys went 1, 2, 3 in our league. It went Lawrence, Pitts, then Harris, right? So in that example, let's say a low ball offer would be a second round pick for that player. Now, I highly
Hmm.
doubt that happens. But in your mind, when we're saying to buy low, would you only consider acquiring those players for that low ball offer of a second round pick?
No, I think you could give him a second plus. Second plus meaning maybe it's 2 seconds or um a second and another young player as well. That could be intriguing. Um, but yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely, you're right. The a second round pick is an extreme low ball offer, and you're probably going to get scoffed or laughed at. Now that's could be considered insulting, but I don't, that's where maybe you increase it a little bit and do a second plus and see what happens.
Now, you would say, though, that if you offered like a late first for any of those players, you wouldn't technically be buying low in any of them.
I think with the except Lawrence would be the one exception possibly. Just because he's just because he's a quarterback position, and it's valued a little higher.
Yeah, see, to
But
me, oh, go ahead, go ahead.
but I mean, I think because there is also more promise with Lawrence, so I could get behind that. Where Najee and Lawrence, there's more promise, but for Pitts, I don't know. His talent is off the charts, but is this situation in Atlanta going to get any better here? Who knows? I mean, if Mariota is going to continue being the quarterback, he's shown that he can't throw the deep ball to Pitts. It's just not been accurate. And if Desmond Ritter's a quarterback, I don't know if it gets better either. So,
No, you're right. I mean, we haven't. He's been very underwhelming, especially this season. Most likely, he's done. He's done for the year now. So I totally get where you're at. To me, I think it's unrealistic to think that you're gonna get one of those players for like a second round pick, even a second round pick plus. To me, I would trade a late. Now we're talking about Lawrence in a super flex league, or like a very deep league like ours, which is a 16 team league. I would be willing to trade a late round first for any one of those guys. And to me, that's where for the other team that's giving away them, you could make the argument they would be okay with that. They could get, for the Pitts owner, you could be able to get that tight end on a Notre Dame, right? That's a great replacement for you. You could get a guy like Bryce Young or CJ Stroud. You wouldn't be able to give him the late first. You probably have to package with your own first to get up there, but you'd be able to get that. With Najee Harris, with a late round first, again, you have to probably package a few picks. Maybe you get a Bijan Robinson. I can understand that from that owner, they could say, I'm going to hit the reset button. I'm going to try this again. But for the owner getting them, I think a late first, you wouldn't be buying low in the terms of a low ball offer. But to me, you would have had to, like, for those other players, you're talking about a first round pick, maybe not Lawrence, but definitely Harris and Pitts. You're talking about a first round pick plus around August timeframe.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the whole point of buying low is the value of these players during the season, because, hopefully that the, owners of those players are frustrated and disappointed and don't see any future value of the player. And that's when you're hoping that you can swoop in with a lower offer and get them at a lower value than you potentially would have.
Sure, but my advice would be if I am the Najee Harris owner or the Kyle Pitts owner and I'm going to be trading and I'm receiving lowball offers, you send a text out to your text group within your league or send within your league chat and create a bidding war, because these players are too coveted. I would be very shocked that every owner in your league views them just in that low ball terms. And maybe you just hold them. I don't know. At this point, I wouldn't just, I don't want to say you're not giving them away, but when you're talking about a real low ball offer, I'm talking about players that have actually hit rock bottom. You got players like Elijah Moore or Calvin Ridley when he got suspended for the year, or Cam Akers. To me, those are those rock bottom players that at that point it's like, okay, you want to give me a low ball offer for me to salvage something, I'm more willing to do that. But to me, it's just too early to take low ball offers on guys like Najee Harris, Kyle Pitts, and Trevor Lawrence.
Well, that's where you just take low ball to the absolute extreme. I'm saying a low ball offer is a second plus for those guys. You're saying a late first. To me, there's not too much difference there. And then now you're talking about rock bottom guys who I wouldn't be willing to give up a second round pick for.
Oh, so yeah, you wouldn't be giving a second round pick for those guys. Yeah, no, so, you wouldn't be giving a second round pick for those. I agree, but I'm saying it's a late round pick, for late first round pick plus something more. To me, a second round pick and like a waiver wire scrub guy, I mean, that's not gonna do anything.
Yeah, I mean, I also didn't say a waiver wire scrub either, but
well, you see a difference of opinion between the two of us. But, we thought that we'd at least have the conversation, with all of you. And hopefully it provides you an extra context when people are saying buying low, trying to get a sense from that owner, whoever has that player and get a pulse, are they completely done with the player? Is it a sunk cost and they're willing to get rid of them no matter what? Then, maybe you're able to maximize and creating more of a low ball offer. But in other instances, like in our league, these owners, probably drafted these players in the top 3. So it's going to be pretty hard for them to just sell them pennies on a dollar. So you may have to, give more than you anticipated. It's not going to be that sky high price that they probably won't even consider taking offers for these players. Now the window's been opened and you might have to pay up a little more. So hopefully you found this content helpful. We're a new channel. We create several videos on a weekly basis. So if you want to like this video, hit the subscribe button for our channel, hit the notification bell. We would greatly appreciate it. And go ahead and put some comments below. Do you have some players that you're thinking about buying low on? And what are some of the conversations you're having with those teams? And what does it look like it's going to take for you to get them? Go ahead and give your comments below, and we're happy to give you our advice. So thanks again for watching, and until next time.